In this video, I want to reveal these two levers, these two switches that when you understand them and you can incorporate them in your fitness journey, it will significantly increase your chance of hitting your goals and getting in really fantastic shape. So these two levers, these two switches, was actually inspired by a story that my brother was telling. So my brother and I were sitting down having lunch, and he was just kind of venting to me about this one instance of a client that he was working with. And he's like, I just don't get this guy. Client was like, I want it done quickly, I want it done with high quality, and I want it done cheap. And my brother's like, dude, you can have two things. You can't have all three of those things. It's like, it'll either be done fast and high quality, but it's not going to be cheap, or it can be cheap, but it's either not going to be high quality or it's not going to be done fast. And it was just a really funny way of how he explained that circumstance. And it's what inspired this idea of the two switches. Because a lot of times in people's fitness journey, they're thinking like, oh man, I gotta buy the organic grass-fed chicken breast, steaks, ground beef, and then I gotta buy the super 100% ultra whey protein platinum isolate. Like, that's so expensive. And I gotta spend all this time, and I gotta do all this effort, and it's like, dude, like, first of all, no wonder you're having some difficulty. That is a lot of stuff. It sounds like you're spending a lot of time, you're spending a lot of money, and you're putting in a lot of effort, and you're not getting the results that you want. And it shouldn't be that way. Time, money, and effort being high, it goes back to the story where it's like, listen, you should only be doing two of those things. It should not require all three. So this is where the two levers, the two switches come into place. Because when you understand these, it'll help you determine the path that works best for you in your current circumstance and will give you a greater perspective, a greater expectation of what's to come in your journey. So the two switches, and I tried coming up with three because I like the rule of thirds and stuff, but I just couldn't think of a third factor. So what I got here when it comes to your fitness journey, is it going to be of high quality or not? Or is it going to be of great quantity or not? So quality, is this someone that has experience that I'm learning personal training stuff from? Is this food of really great pedigree that comes from the grass-fed aisles of whatever? And quantity, am I going to be getting a whole lot of this thing? Or am I just going to get this thing once in a while? And when you are on your journey and you're trying to determine these things, you're asking yourself, do I want more of it or do I want less of it? So not more or less in terms of quantity, but more or less, do I want it to be like of higher quality or lower quality? Do I want greater quantity or lower quantity? Because those things are going to very heavily influence whether you're spending a lot of time, whether you're spending a lot of money, or if you're spending a lot of effort. So sounding a little like, okay, I'm sort of getting this. Let's explain it more deeply. That way you can have a better understanding. So we'll start with quality. We'll do personal trainer, for example. You want to get a personal trainer to help you on your fitness journey. Do you want a personal trainer that's of lesser quality or greater quality? Now, I'm not saying one is good or bad. It's a genuine question. Because let's say you don't have a lot of money. Then you might have to go with a personal trainer that's of lesser quality. But if you do that, it's probably going to cost you more time. The workouts that you're doing probably aren't the most efficient, and it's probably going to cost you a lot more effort because you'll need to get more gym sessions in. You might be paying personal trainer like not as much as a higher quality trainer, but you're also going to have to see this personal trainer a lot more times. You're going to have to get in a lot more workouts. You may have to do a lot more research on your own, because I know when I'm working with clients, I want to provide them with information outside of the gym session as well. That's why I got these videos and things, and I provide them workbooks and PDFs. So it's like I'm working with you in the gym, and then outside the gym, if you want to learn even more, here's all the best stuff that I know. But you likely will not get that with a lesser quality trainer. Those are things to consider. I don't have a lot of money. Okay, go with a lesser quality trainer. However, it's going to cost you more time, it's going to cost you more effort. Or if you want to get a higher quality trainer, it will probably cost you more money, but it's going to cost you less time and effort in the long run. And again, I'm not saying these are good or bad. Like, if the trainer is bad, don't hire them. But if they're of lesser, like, quote unquote quality, like they don't have a college degree in it, they don't have different certifications, they don't have a lot of experience, they're going to be a lesser quality. It doesn't mean they're a bad trainer. I'm just saying they're of lesser quality. But if you want someone that's transformed the lives of 10,000 people and has 15 college degrees and a PhD and is an MD, then it's like, yeah, it's going to cost you more money, but it's not going to cost you a lot of time or effort relative to lesser quality one. Same thing for food. There's a really cool trick that you can do do when you want to lose weight and get your protein in. So I'm not going to go into depth of how to do the losing weight thing. I've got multiple videos on that. But a really cool trick that you can do is ensure that all of the protein that you are getting in is in the form of solid food. So no protein shakes. You're going to get your protein from lean beef, like legumes, beans, rice. Those are all like food that you need to eat and masticate, which means chewing. And because you are eating like actual tangible food, if you're eating enough meals that help you hit that 200 grams of protein, for example, the calories is not going to be that high. So you can just stop eating after you hit your protein goal. And because it's actual food, you're going to feel full. So you're not going to have as much of a desire to eat other things. However, going that route will cost you more money. The amount of dollar per protein that's in meat is significantly higher than dollar per protein that's in like a tub of protein powder. Because a whole tub of protein powder, there's a brand that I use, there's 70 servings, and each serving is 30 grams of protein. That's a crap ton of protein, and the thing only costs like $50. So it's like less than $1 per 30 grams of protein. So I'm spending like 50 cents for 30 grams of protein. But if I wanted to get 30 grams of protein from like chicken or ground beef or something like that, it might cost like $5 or $6. So I'm spending $5 or $6 on like 30 or 40 grams of protein, or I could spend like 50 cents on 30 grams of protein. However, and it feels like the obvious answer is like, all right, I'm just going to get all my protein from protein powders. But it goes back to this, like you're saving money, but it's going to cost you more time. Actually, it would cost you less time for the protein powder, but it's going to cost you more effort. So this is like either or. And it's effort in the sense of I have to be very conscious to not eat more calories, because drinking a protein shake is not very filling. In some instances, it can be to kind of like hold you over till the next meal. But if a majority of your meals are coming from protein shakes, that's going to go through you real quick and you're going to feel hungry. Sure, you're going to save some money, but it might require more effort to stick with the thing. But if you wanted to get all your protein from eating meats and things like that, it's going to cost you more money, and it probably would cost you time if you're cooking the food yourself. But let's say you're doing like a meal prep service, it's not going to cost you any time, and the amount of effort to stick with that diet is very, very low. So I hope that you can kind of see, at least for like the quality example, like how that switch works. Greater quality tends to mean more money, but less time and less effort. Lesser quality tends to mean less money, but more time, more effort. Same thing for quantity as well. You might be like, all right, I want to get a really great personal trainer because I'm okay with spending the money and not spending as much time or effort. However, did you consider how many sessions you want to have with that trainer? If someone's like, hey man, I can only afford 5 or 6 sessions with you, in my personal opinion, I believe in the power of immersion. Like if I'm going to be working with you, I want to like saturate your brain and give you a full experience that quite literally changes your perspective from the inside out. So if we're going to be working together, what I would rather do is we spend 4 sessions back to back to back to back. That way I can instill in you the thought patterns, the beliefs, behaviors. That way, when you are working out on your own for week 2, week 3, week 4, you know how to do the exercises, and you also know what to do outside of the gym. And I believe that you can get greater growth, see greater results if we were to spend a condensed chunk of time together in the beginning rather than little drips throughout. Does that make sense? So someone's like, well, I can't afford doing 4 or 5 sessions within 1 week. That goes to quantity. And it's like, okay, well, we might have to work less together. Again, it's going to cost less money, but it's going to be more time and more effort on that person's part, because there's only so much I can provide within a couple sessions to really help that individual. And in most cases, if someone's like, I can only work out with you once a week, I would be like, it's not worth it. Like, I would rather ensure and guarantee that I can get you results, but if we're doing it once a week, I can't guarantee that. So I'd rather recommend you to someone else who is a bit more affordable, but it's not going to be of greater quality. Or let's say, as an example, for protein, the whole protein powder thing. So I spend $50 on a brand of protein that has 70 servings. And if you wanted to get a brand of protein that's $25 but has 25 servings, you would have to buy that twice to get to just 50 servings. You've already spent $50. So 50 servings for $50 or 70 servings for $50. You're kind of spending less money in the long run, but you're spending more money up front. And I know personal trainers do that as well, where it's like, oh, if you buy 5 or 6 sessions with me right now, it'll cost you get a free session, or buy 4, get 1 free, buy 5 for the price of 4, whatever, however it's phrased. Because you're buying more up front, yes, it's a little bit more money, but you're saving the time, you're saving the effort of having to continue to redo those payments. And in the long term, if you're buying 4, getting 1 free, it's better than buying 5 and paying the price of 5. You know what I mean? So the reason why I think a lot of people trip up on their journey is because they aren't aware of the whole quality quantity switch. They're somewhat leaning in to the quality. They aren't getting things in great quantity, and they're a bit confused as to why things are feeling a little bit more complicated than it should be. And it's very understandable. There's a lot of different factors. And this is one of those videos where you may even have to watch it a couple more times just to really kind of cement in those ideas. Because if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of money, then you are going to need to put a lot more of your time and effort in the beginning. It might not be for all areas of your fitness that you're going to have to do that with, but you got to pick and choose which one. For me, my food, I was like, okay, that's a switch I can drop it down in terms of quality. I get about 100 grams of protein in my diet just from protein shakes. Now, if I were to get that from meals, oh boy, I would be feeling so full throughout the day. But I don't do it through meals because of the whole 70 servings for $50 thing. I'm like, that's a really fantastic deal. I get to save some money, and it's of great quantity, which is very helpful for me. I get to save some time and decrease the amount of effort of having to continue to buy something. But it's a little bit more money up front, but in the long term, it's less money. If you find it hard to stick with your diet, then you might want to lean towards spending a bit more money to get higher protein foods. They've got protein chips and stuff like that, and you might see the bag of chips and it's like, protein chips, this is $3, $4. That's a lot of money for chips. However, it's got the protein in it. It's going to help you feel fuller. It's going to help you hit your protein goal. And if it's harder to stick with that diet, I would recommend that you do what you can to stick with a healthy diet rather than trying to cut corners with the thing that you feel weaker in. So that's kind of a cool perspective that you can use, a cool angle of approach that you can ask yourself, where do I struggle the most? Because if you struggle more in that area, that's the area I would recommend going greater with. So for example, it's I really struggle with my workouts. I don't know how to do the proper form. I don't know which exercises to do. There's so many different things out there in terms of what to do in the gym, online, and I just don't know where to start. Well, I'd recommend you get that personal trainer. You get a high quality personal trainer to help you out. But if you're when I go to the gym, I'm going to get some good workouts in, but I feel like it's my diet that I'm slacking on, then I'd say go for the great quality. Go for the greater quantity of it. Pay for a meal prep service, and it's oh, but these meal prep services, it's $10 per meal. And it's all right, well, yeah. Well, you go to Chipotle and you get a meal, and it's $16. You can guarantee that you're getting high quality meal every single day, and you can recoup that money by not going out to eat, by not stopping at drive-thrus, things like that. You can save more money, in my opinion, by doing the meal preps, because you get everything that you need. So if you struggle with that, go for that. But if you're no, my diet's on point, then okay, you can adhere to your diet, try to save money with that. So this is the video I might try to reapproach in the future. It's still a concept that I'm working on better explaining myself. So if you've got any questions, write it in the comments below. I will be sure to answer. But if this provided some clarity, some perspective for you for how you should approach your own fitness journey, then hit the subscribe button because I got more great videos to come. So thank you guys so much for watching and for sticking to the end here. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.